Yes, that is our artist of the week. And her name is Tosin Oyelakin. She's a UK-based British Nigerian, multiple award-winning gospel singer, songwriter, and worship leader who's been singing in church since she was about 7 years old. In February of 2016, she released her debut 3-track EP, You're Precious, and in 2018, she released her first album titled My Offering, My Everything. Her sophomore album, Your Kingdom Come, was released in 2021. Hello, Tosin. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Thank you.
I love the smile.
Thank you so much.
A happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter to you all, too.
Now, Tosin, is there singing in the family?
My father was was in the Methodist choir when he was alive, and he was the church organist. So, yeah, I think I got my musical leanings from him.
Were you also in the choir?
Yes, always. Since I was about 7, I started, I took a liking, to singing and, acting really, dancing and all that when I was about 7 years old in Sunday school. So, yes, that's where I started from.
From what I have here, you're a very busy person. You're a physiotherapist by profession.
Right.
You are a mother. You are a wife. You are a speaker. You are a writer. Should I go on? So how do you juggle being all this?
That was going to sound spiritual, but I think it must be the strength of God that helps me, because even sometimes I sit down and think, how do I do all this? But I think I'm just able to manage because, number one, I have the passion for it. It's what I love to do. So it's not tiring for me. Everything that I do, being a physiotherapist, being a mom, being a wife, being a writer, being a speaker, being a singer, they're all passionate, things that I'm passionate about. So it comes to me naturally, and I do also have time, take time to rest. So yeah, I try to manage things and balance things up that way.
Interesting. So let's just say, so there is a passion for motherhood as well somewhere there. I'm just asking.
Absolutely, yes.
And there's a passion for being a wife. Those are, in fact, those two alone are just full-time jobs. But so what would then be the challenges that you would say come with these callings? Because I can't say it's just one.
Yeah.
Sometimes there will be a clash of timing, scheduling. They want to have parent-teachers meetings. You have to be there at the same time you're supposed to be at a worship or a speaking engagement. What are the challenges? And how do you manage them for those who need some inspiration?
So it's prioritizing. I know that my primary calling is to my family. So I prioritize my family above my speaking engagements, my music, and all that. And it's making sure that I time things well. There have been times that, we've not been informed on time about school activities that I have to be present. But I've had to drop things so that I could be there for my kids, because it's important for me and my children that I'm present there. So I've had to drop some engagements or rearrange things where I could to make sure that I'm present. So it's making sure that I'm prioritizing my activities. I prioritize my family above all of these things. However, my family understands where I've had to sort of put a limit on family time so that I could attend to other things. So where there haven't been very important and very strict activities for the family, where we can be flexible, we've managed that very well.
I understand the music industry a little bit. We do, because we've worked with radio stations, and we've had to host music artists such as yourself And we grew up at a time where we could track where the money was coming from. Cassettes, CDs, records, and all. How do you manage that these days? Because what you save with cassettes and CDs, you spend somewhere else. Help us understand how you manage the business parts of what you do.
I mainly fund my music personally as an independent artist because I'm not signed up to any record label, so I manage financial side of things myself. So obviously, because I'm a physiotherapist, I'm able to get the money to fund my music. However, the music also makes a bit of money on the digital platforms where I always put my music and where I have, not a great deal of downloads, but I do have a fair sizable amount of downloads and I get, some money back through that. I have, the PRS here in the UK, which is a musical body that, tracks your where your music is being used, and they help you to get some money back as well. So I am registered with them, and so they help me to get some money back. And my distributor, the distributing sites that I use to distribute my music, they also do some publishing as well, music publishing, and they also help with tracking and getting some money back for me. So I market my music, I advertise a lot. So yes, so I get a lot of downloads that gives me a fair amount back, which I put back into the music as well.
Interesting. I'm also interested in the general space. Maybe I should ask you this way. In your opinion and from your experience, I don't know how far back you've gone professional, even though you released your debut in 2016. How different is it to be a gospel music minister or entrepreneur, if I dare say, in Britain compared to Nigeria?
I started my music ministry in UK, so I can't say much, but I do observe the scene in Nigeria as well as here. But I think in Britain, as opposed to Nigeria, I think the ministry is a lot more is better received. May I say, put it that way. In Nigeria, we're coming up a lot in the UK. There's a lot of awareness that we're building, and we're really gaining a good amount of ground. However, I feel the atmosphere in Nigeria is more receptive really to religious things than here in the UK, for reasons best known here to God. So yes, it's a bit more difficult to break into the mainstream as an artist in the
Perhaps
UK.
that may also speak to the messaging, because there are those who believe that a product will sell itself if it resonates quite significantly. So if we are to put Tosin Oyelakin as an artist in a docket, what would be the USP that her message is selling, that people need to be drawn to?
It is the love of Christ, and people are naturally drawn to love. Where they feel loved, where they can, people can pick things. They can pick when this person is generally doing this out of love or out of selfish reasons. So it's about the what you have in you and that what is coming through to your music. Because what you have in you will definitely spill over into what you're doing, especially when you're in the ministry. So it's about having the love of Christ, which is what I am selling, the love of Jesus to the world. And that is what, my ministry is based on, sharing the love of Christ. So I believe, people will generally be drawn to that, where you are showing a lot of love and you're selling it.
But love cannot be cannot be packaged, so to speak. It cannot be put in a bottle or something. It's kind of a message that we're selling that, there are those who would say it's a loveless world already. How do you even preach love to those who are incapable of loving people themselves? How do you give love to those who are quote-unquote unlovable? How does that message get across? Sometimes you're trying to give love, but you are receiving the very thing you are trying to take away from the people to whom you are giving. Like the example of Jesus, who was killed for showing love.
I'm not going to lie to you to tell you that that is easy. It's not easily done. And you get to a level in your Christian walk, especially where you're striving to become more and more like Christ. Because when we make Jesus our, standard in life, where when he was being killed, he was being beaten, people were, ridiculing his ministry, saying all sorts about him that weren't true. All he did was love them back in return, show them love, say the truth in love as well. So it's not a case of you have done me evil, I'm not going to love you as a result. It's a case of, learning, because that's why our Christian walk is a journey. It's a journey to becoming more and more like Jesus in the way he loves, in his compassionate ways. So we learn it, and that is what we are called to do. And that's what shows you that you're actually serious about this Christianity. Otherwise, you're just going to be like every other person who is vengeful, who, wants to show love only when I'm loved. But what we have been called to is, even when the world is hating on you, when they're saying bad things about you, when they are not receptive of what you are given, you still love in return. You still do what you need to do. Protect yourself, obviously, in any way that you can, but do not repay evil for evil.
Yeah, what kinds of things do you say to your audience when you give your weekly and your daily words of wisdom?
So I base my weekly and daily words of wisdom on the scriptures. So it's anything that comes to mind to discuss or to talk about. So for the daily words of wisdom, I just take a verse, mainly a verse of the scripture, and meditate on it. And whatever comes to me around that verse, I write as a devotional, and I put it out there. The weekly words of wisdom, they are more around teaching-based, sessions, about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes on the radio. And I just, different scriptures, put them together, whatever I feel inspired to talk about, I do.
And your work on Brightside TV, what kind of teaching program do you have on that platform?
Yeah, that's about a half an hour TV sessions that I, just teach as well. I only just started that in December 2023. So I've only had 3 sessions on there so far, because it's a monthly teaching program. So I've talked about, in December, I talked about coming into the new year, preparing for the new year, setting your goals and sort of just, going with God. And then I talked about amazing grace, what makes grace so amazing, and also feeling purpose and living your purpose. So I just generally teach as I feel, inspired to.
You have 2 television programs, and you have 2 radio programs and 1 TV program.
No, 1 radio program, 1 TV program, and my daily devotionals that I write, yes.
So what time do you have to be a physiotherapist?
Good question. I try to juggle these things. I obviously, I work long hours as a physiotherapist as well. My kids are very helpful. They would sort of, my older daughter would sort of help with dinner sometimes, because I would get, recipe-based meals that are already made to measure. And, at 17, that's how I'm helping her to learn cooking as well. My son also is very good, thank God. I have lovely children who would do, who are they would do what they need to do at the right time. So that takes a lot of pressure off me. And also evenings, when I get home in the evenings, I try to take time out after resting for a few minutes just to do my writing and do what I can do to build up on the ministry and plan what I need to do. So I have a weekly radio radio program, which is just about 10 minutes long, 10-15 minutes. So it's not that long that I have to prepare for. But the monthly one is what takes a bit of time to prepare for.
Just before we go, you released a single 2 days ago.
Yes.
Is it too soon to ask what we're expecting next? Since you're still gathering your thoughts from releasing this one.
Yes, I plan on releasing a few more singles after this one, by the grace of God. So yes, please watch this space.
Watch this space, okay. Tosin Oyelakin, a UK-based British Nigerian, multiple award-winning gospel singer, songwriter, and worship leader. Thank you very much for coming on Sunrise this morning. We wish you all the best, and we hope that we will see something new from you soon.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me here.
So that rounds up Sunrise for this day, our last Sunrise for the month of March. We'll bring you a fresh one next month. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you a very happy Easter indeed, and Nigeria is our country, and it's the only one we have. See you next week. So
in your fasting and praying, please fast and pray for Nigeria. It's very important. It's all we have. Happy Easter. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Bye.